Hi there, welcome back to another Touchdesigner tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at creating something like this. I'm just going to mute the music and turn it up on my Spotify, and you can sort of see the effect that is going on here, like so. I'm just going to quickly adjust my recording setup. Sorry about that. Very improper, just adjusting my window size. Welcome back. We're doing another sort of just Touchdesigner audiovisual. We're going to be looking at creating a spectrum and then displacing that against a shape. This project file as is available for download on my Patreon. It's just a few bucks a month. Otherwise, what we're going to do today is essentially look at the core components of this and reconstruct it. We won't be doing all of the effects or color or like anything crazy and special. That will be just reserved for the Patreon file. But I'll at least show you what is happening to get this effect in the background, like how we make this, and then you can sort of compile the rest together yourself. But yeah, if I just quickly unmute the music once again. You can already see how that's going. I really hope that did not get my video muted. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to hide this background, and we're going to go ahead and just dive into the tutorial. We're going to go at a slow pace for beginners and try to describe and explain everything that we're doing along the way. So the first thing we want to do is go to our chop and get an audio device or audio file in. You can drag and drop it in. I'm going to actually do an audio file and use the built-in one. We want to then connect that to an audio device out so we can hear it. I'm going to bypass this so I don't actually hear that because I don't really want to. The next thing we want to do is connect this to a audio spectrum, like so. Where is my audio spectrum? Boom. And now when we play, we can see where the low, mid, and high frequencies. And we want to basically create a shape that is going to represent that and sort of just spin around in 3D space. And as the spectrum of the song is playing, it's sort of like displacing and reacting to that. It's a lot simpler than it sounds. So we also want to then connect this to a math. We want to set the combined channels to, let's do add, just to add them into one channel, but adding is obviously going to add the values together, so we also need to go to the range tab and set it from 0 to 2 to 0 to 1, just to normalize that back to 1. Now we want to go ahead and turn this into a visual spectrum, and the way we're going to do that is connect this to a chop 2 under the top tab. We want to set the data format to legacy to just make the alpha levels transparent. Don't mind me, I'm just using this for reference up here to make sure I'm still on track. We want to connect it in a level, and we're going to turn the brightness up here just so we have more of a, the white highlights are a lot brighter. We will then connect this to a fit. On this fit, I'm also going to set the nearest pixel under these two, like so. And then I want to really go to fit here and set that to fill as well. You can see here now that we have our spectrum stretched across a 1000 by 1000 grid. Awesome. So to create an audio spectrum, so like so it trails, we're going to need to move this down. So if I bring it down, let's do a little bit smaller, so negative 0.98 like that. And then we want to just create this and drag it upwards. So the way we're going to do that is with a feedback loop. So if I connect this to a null, just to signify the start of the loop, then a feedback like so. Then we want to connect this feedback to a transform, and then connect this to a over, and then plug this over, connect it to our null, and then drag this over onto our feedback. You can see now we're getting an infinitely piling feedback. That's right. We'll fix that soon. Just going to connect another null. And then basically what we want to do now is set this transform to drag up. So if we set the translate to positive 0.1 like that, you can see it's been dragged up. That might be a bit too slow, so I might actually add a 0 in between. Yeah, and there we go. We got our audio spectrum like so, which is awesome. Now with this, we essentially just want to map this to a shape. Now the way we're going to do that is basically, you can see here we have this PBR material and we have a bunch of maps, and we're going to create a material that is reflective of this sort of null. Before we do that, I think we should just quickly soften the edges a little bit, just so that way when we put it onto a shape it doesn't have a sudden end and start. The way we're going to do that is create a ramp, plug this one in like so, and then set the output to just resolution. We then want to get a composite, and I think I am just going to use the multiplier for now. Yeah, okay, cool. So obviously we want this on the up and down axes, so the vertical axes, so change it to vertical like so. And then we want the end to be black and white, so we want to do something like that, and then set this one to white, and then have like a smooth fade out on both ends like that. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing we want to do is create a null, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this a few times. We're probably going to need to create more than this, but for now that'll do. So I'm going to bring those out, and these are going to be things like our normal, our height, and our whatever. Just want to make sure I haven't forgot a single step. We do want to insert here a ramp, not a ramp, sorry, an RGB key, just to oh my god, I cannot get it. RGB key here, just to make sure our background is black. I'm not going to do the most clean node layout here, so forgive me for that. But for this first one, let's insert a normal, which is going to give us a simple wee normal map like so. Super easy. We can leave this one like so. I don't remember all of these off by heart, so I'm just going to double check. We want to do an ambient occlusion one as well, so I'm going to copy that one down like here. And then we also want to do a emit, but we're going to come back to the emit one later, so I'm just going to leave that one. So we can name this one here normal, just so we can keep track of them. We can name this one height. Now mine are auto renaming because I have other stuff in the project file. And we can name this last one ambient, obviously for ambient occlusion, but I will just name it ambient. Then we want to insert a level here. And then on this level, we want to set the brightness, just bring it down to about half. And then I think I brought the contrast down slightly. Yeah, just, we can play around with that when we actually get the texture. So I'm just going to delete this one. Cool. So let's go ahead and make the material. So under the materials tab, we want to grab a PBR. Really handy material here, which just allows us to apply some quick maps. And we're going to do that. So we're going to throw the normal map on like so. Then let's enable height map. Displace vertices also on. I'm going to bring the parallax scale down. And then the height map goes onto the height map like so. I'm going to bring the bump scale up to 3, and then bring this display scale down and sort of very gently see what's going on there. And then we're going to do our emit map later, but we can also apply our ambient occlusion map like so. And then cool. So let's go ahead and start creating our shape. For simplicity's sake, I'm not going to get a super complex shape going on, but I will explain how I got some of the effects going later on. But we're going to just start off with a sphere. Since we're doing a singular sphere today rather than a bunch of dots, I'm going to make this a lot higher quality by just making that 200 and 400. I then believe the important parts is we want to create a material. We're going to use a normal map, so we need to do an attribute create and then compute tangents, have that set on. And then we might as well do the texture now as well. Does that go after the attribute create? Nah, it goes before. So let's insert a texture here. And what we're going to do with this texture is essentially repeat the pattern across the sphere. But I will leave that for later. So now if we drag this material, this PBR onto the material, you can see here, it's completely dark obviously, but it's starting to behave. And oh, there we go. You can sort of see how the spectrum is being mapped across the sphere. We'll come back to the texture to make this a repeating pattern, because that might not be something you want to do. So we'll just create this as is for now. So let's connect this into a geometry and do all of our standard rendering components. So again, camera. That's you know what, that actually looks really cool, the way it's integrated with my previous shape. Maybe I'll have to include this for the Patreon file. Sorry, let's also grab a environment light. I'm going to create a constant and just go top. Very lazy environment map here today. We need we already got a camera, and then we need a render. Now I have to manually reset these things. You don't have to do this because you will just have the singular. So let's set that to lights and then set this one to camera. Cool. Let's go ahead and connect in a null just to end it off. We can set this one as the background now. We can also add an RGB key to make the background black, which is very cool. Now you can basically see what is going on. Now we have the audio spectrum here is being applied to a 3D sphere. So it's already looking pretty cool. Now, some things you might want to do is adjust the dimmer of the environment light. You might want to go to the material itself and play around. If you go to the RGB here, play around with some of the maps. So maybe you want to bring the roughness down and go for more of a sort of reflective look. You might also want to set this emit to, well, we haven't created the color yet, but when we create the emit map, you'll want to maybe turn that on. But yeah, this is sort of explaining what's going on. Now, if we do take a look at the texture here, and then let me see what parameters I had set. So I've grabbed that texture, bring it down here, and compare it to this one. We want to set the texture to rows and columns, which is already dispersing it quite nicely. And then set the scale depending on where you want it to repeat, like so. So maybe you want to do a scale like that. So on the y-axis, so it's like repeating as it goes up. Maybe you want to do it on the z-axis, although we can't really see that. Maybe you want to do a little bit on the x-axis. Sort of just want to play around with that. This is the parameter I had it set to, 411. But since we're doing a tutorial today, I'm just going to create something different, because why not? Obviously, if I have this set to 1, the displacement is a lot more energetic. So if you're going for something really slow and ambient and evolving, maybe you want to do a much higher scale on a lot of these axes. Like so. Maybe let's go 4 there, maybe 2 there. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's quite intense, but I like that. And then I'm going to go back to my maps and then maybe play around with the parallax scale a little bit, display scale, bring that maybe down some more. Also make that displacement 0.0. Maybe bring the bump map down. So I just want to play around with things. Cool. Alright, I'm liking the direction of this so far. Let's give it some color. So for my color today, I'm going to do a technique where I just get a constant, which is going to be our base color. Then want to get a noise, like so. And then we want to get a composite and set it to add. Was it add or is it I can't remember off the top of my head. No, it is add. It is indeed set to add. I think I just need to adjust my noise a little bit, like so. Let me change this one to red. There we go. Just because the white was quite powerful. Awesome. So looking at our color now, we don't really need to create any movement for it, but you want to sort of set a base color. So I was doing a gold one earlier, which is a little bit more yellow. Maybe bring that down a little bit, maybe that down a little bit. If you want to bring in non-monochrome and have a bunch of different color that you can, but otherwise I'm going to make the period a bit higher, maybe make the amplitude a bit greater, and then have the exponent a bit greater and the amplitude down a little bit, sort of just whatever. And then I'm going to drag that final result onto my base color, like so. And now at this point I might be like, you know what, I'm not really feeling that. Let me try red and let me make this not monochrome. Yeah, that's looking a lot cooler. That is looking a whole lot cooler. So I'm going to keep it like that. Next thing we want to do is create our emit map. So go emit map. So from our RGB, we want to do another null, like so. I'm just going to move this out of the way. We do want to insert another level between the null we just created and the RGB key. Here are the settings I have. Just the gamma is up a lot, brightness is down. Then between these two, I want to do a multiply, and then drag the output of our color into that multiply, like so. And then this we can name emit. Yes, and of course, if you want to name this color as well, you can. That's going to break everything for me, but that can fix it. And then our PBR, we can set emit map like so. And once again, now that we have all of these things configured, you can go to the RGB tab again and play around with sort of the look of things. Maybe you do want to do the roughness down quite a bit, but then maybe you also want to bring the ambient occlusion down, or maybe you like it like that, and maybe now you want to go to the environment light and bring the dimmer down, like so. Now this is basically the whole tutorial. To get to what I had earlier, which is everything is needs to be redefined. Geometry, let's do our camera. Let's do our lights. To get closer to this look, it's a lot of sort of post-processing. So I have some noise added in, a little bit of displace and a feedback edge, and of course a depth of field. Now I'll go over the depth of field blur because I think that'll be a really nice thing to add to this. But if you want to know the other effects, they're pretty simple, and I recommend you just look through some of the other tutorials I have on them. But as for the depth of field, we'll quickly do that one. So let's do a depth, and this, not a cube map, I always click the wrong one. The depth needs to take a render, like so. From this render, I want to then output a level. I was exploring this new technique where you connect in a difference like so, and then, have this one going to there, and then this one going to here, and then connect this one out to a level again. Basically what I'm doing is giving us the tools to create a more fine-tuned luma blur, which we can insert a luma blur like so. On this first level here, I'm going to invert it and start to now see that the blur is really starting to take shape. So maybe I want to play with the gamma, bring that down a little bit. Sorry, the gamma like so. Contrast, bring that up so we have more of a difference between the black and the white. Essentially, in this image, we want to create a depth look where we're going to blur everything closer to white and have everything in black much more clean. So you can see now when we plug this in, it's very subtle. We can turn it up a lot. There we go. We turn it up to about 20. You can see that everything's been blurred in the background. And now with in combination of sort of this width, white filter width, and then also these levels and that we have, you can sort of get a lot more fine tune over creating this map. You can also play around with these ones, of course. Maybe really go for something like that. And then I think maybe finally I might also add in a bit of rotation. So just on these, on the geometry node, I'm going to type in this code, abs time.seconds, capital T, maybe times it by 10. And now we're going all around the sphere, and let's do that on all 3 axes. You can also make this obviously reactive to your music. We're not going to really go over that in this tutorial, but since we're doing a bit of a slower spin, I might slow all of this down quite a bit. Yeah, I'm really starting to like that. I think we definitely need to get more, the depth of field needs to be improved a little bit. Okay, that's looking fucking cool. And yeah, look, if I copy in, say, this here, which is just some more post-processing effects. Again, like the feedback edge just comes from the simple image filters palette up here. It's nothing complicated going on, but if I just plug these in as an example, and then plug it into the RGB key, you can really see we're starting to get some really trippy effects going on. And even maybe the feedback edge is too much for your liking. And then displace, might want to even bring that down on the slope here like so. Another cool thing that is worth trying, if I just get rid of those, is the bloom. Someone in my comments last time asked why I use the bloom from the image filters. If I insert a bloom top instead, which is newer, you can see we have a lot less control, and also the ramp and glow colors are a really nice feature about the older one that I tend to use, especially if I want to create like faux heat maps. But if we just use this ramp top today, you can obviously bring the threshold down a bit, but then maybe you want to make the fill a lot less, and sort of just make the pre-black level, sort of just play around with it to your liking. If I bring that fill back up, and now, yeah, you can sort of start to see it's starting to glow at those brighter parts. Maybe I want to bring the fill down even more, and then threshold down as well. Yeah. But yeah, so I'll mute the music, have a look at. I cannot hear it. You cannot hear it. There we go. That's pretty much it. Again, if you have a faster song, you might want to play with the texturing. Make this 1, this 1 as well. See that reflects the music a lot more. You can obviously add like a pumping element to the bloom. Just some ideas. But otherwise, I'm just going to leave the tutorial there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. I would love any feedback, greatly appreciated. Just sort of wanted to try do another little audio visual before I go on my break. And yeah, this project file as is, I think I'll just I'll include both in the Patreon as available for download. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.